Most people who think they're good with money aren't. And the tricky part is the worse you are, the more confident you tend to feel. That's not an insult. That's just how human psychology works. I used to feel pretty smart about money, too. I had a budget app on my phone. I knew what an index fund was. I used a cashback credit card. I thought I was ahead of the game. Then I actually looked at my numbers, and I realized I wasn't playing the game. I was just comfortable watching it from the couch. Let me show you what I mean. There's something called the Dunning-Kruger effect. It's a real thing studied by actual psychologists. It's nuanced, but the core idea holds up under scrutiny. The short version is people with limited knowledge in a subject tend to overestimate their own competence, and people with deep knowledge tend to underestimate it. In plain English, the less you know, the more confident you feel. This shows up everywhere, but in personal finance, it's almost invisible, because financial literacy in the US is genuinely low. A 2019 study found that only 17% of American adults could correctly answer basic questions about interest. 17%. But ask those same people if they feel confident managing their money. The number jumps way higher. That gap between feeling smart and actually being sharp is expensive. Let me give you a few examples of what financially smart looks like on the surface, and what it actually costs underneath. Example 1 is the Rewards credit card. I had one of these for 3 years, 2% cash back on everything. I felt like I was winning every time I swiped. Here's what I didn't think about. The average American carries about $6,000 in credit card debt. The average interest rate on a credit card right now is somewhere around 24% annually. So, if you carry a balance, even a small one, you're paying hundreds of dollars a year in interest to earn maybe $80 in cash back. The math doesn't work unless you pay in full every single month. But the card feels like a smart move because you only see the rewards. The interest is quiet. It hides in the fine print and in the minimum payment. It works exactly as intended. Example 2 is the budget that exists but doesn't function. I made budgets, good ones actually, spreadsheets with categories, color coding. Very satisfying to look at. The problem was I treated budgeting like a planning exercise, not a tracking exercise. I'd make the plan on the first of the month feel organized, and then basically forget about it until next month. A 2022 study found that about 80% of Americans say they have a budget, but only about a third actually track their spending regularly. Making a budget is not the same as using one. It's like writing out a workout plan and then sitting on the couch eating chips. The plan existed, the results didn't. Example 3 is investing a little while, ignoring a lot. This one I see everywhere. Someone opens a brokerage account, puts in $50 a month into an index fund, feels like an investor. Meanwhile, they have $2,000 sitting in a savings account, earning 0.5%. Meanwhile, they have a car loan at 7%. Meanwhile, they have a subscription box they forgot about charging $14 a month. Meanwhile, they haven't looked at their employer's retirement match because the enrollment form was confusing. Investing $50 a month while leaving a 6% employer match unclaimed is like putting money in a jar on one side of the room while lighting money on fire on the other side. The investing feels smart. The full picture isn't. Example 4 is optimizing the small stuff while ignoring the big stuff. I spent maybe 2 hours researching which streaming service had the best price per show. Saved $4 a month. I have not spent 2 hours comparing my car insurance in 3 years. The average person overpays on car insurance by over $300 a year just by not shopping around. We clip digital coupons for groceries. We don't negotiate rent, salary, or interest rates. We feel frugal. We're actually just busy with the small decisions so we don't have to think about the uncomfortable big ones. This isn't an accident. Small financial choices are marketed to us constantly. Compare prices, use this app, get cash back here. The big financial levers aren't marketed because they don't make companies money. So we stay focused on the small stuff and feel smart doing it. Now I need to be clear about something important. Not everyone has access to an employer match or the ability to negotiate salary. Financial literacy helps, but it doesn't solve a low-income problem. Some leaks exist because the system is rigged, not because you're careless. But if you have the flexibility here is what actually separates someone who's financially sharp from someone who just feels that way. 3 things. 1 is they track outcomes, not intentions. It doesn't matter that you planned to save $300 this month. What matters is whether you actually did. Pull up your bank statement right now. Look at last month, the actual numbers. Where did the money go? If you can't answer that in about 60 seconds, you're working on intention, not information. 2 is they know their real numbers, not approximate, real. Do you know your exact monthly take-home pay? Your exact fixed expenses, your exact total debt, and the interest rate on each one. Most people know these things roughly. Roughly isn't enough to make good decisions. You don't need a fancy tool for this. You need 1 hour and a piece of paper. Write down income. Write down every fixed expense. Write down every debt with its rate. What's left is what you actually have to work with. If you've never done this, it's going to be uncomfortable. That discomfort is information. 3 is they fix the biggest leak first, not the most satisfying fix. The biggest one. If you have no emergency fund, build that buffer before attacking debt. If you have high interest debt, that's almost always the biggest leak after safety. Paying off a credit card at 22% is a guaranteed 22% return. No index fund promises you that. If you have an employer retirement match, you're not capturing that's 100% return on that money. Nothing competes with that. Fix the biggest thing first, then optimize everything else. The feeling of being financially smart comes from doing visible, manageable things, tracking an app, reading finance content. The reality of being financially sharp comes from looking at the uncomfortable stuff, the debt you don't talk about, the match you never enrolled in, the insurance you haven't reviewed, the salary you accepted without negotiating. I'm not saying any of this to make you feel bad. I'm saying it because I spent years feeling smart while quietly making expensive mistakes. And I didn't even know because everything felt fine. That's the illusion. It doesn't feel like an illusion. It feels like competence. The system isn't set up to show you the gap between the two. You're often treated more like a product than a customer. So, one thing you can do this week? Just one. Pull up your last 3 months of bank and credit card statements. Add up what you actually spent. Compare it to what you thought you spent. That's it. Don't judge it. Don't make a new plan yet. Just see it. That's the first move that actually matters. The rest follows from there. Or it doesn't. Either way, you'll know what you're actually working with, and that's more than most people ever bother to find out.